Hello, we're looking at section 3.8 in your geometry textbook today. This is found on page 198, and we're looking at problem number 1, which is just talking about parallel lines. And as we look at this, it's simply just asking, are these two lines over here parallel? Now, we know from looking at them, they seem to be parallel, which means, remember, parallel means the lines will never cross each other. But mathematically, we can prove that by taking the slope of the lines. Now, if you'll remember, the slope of the lines is the difference in the y values divided by the difference in the x values. So we're picking, say, for a line L1, which is this line right here. Here's the 2 points we're looking at, that one and this one down here. So if I take the difference in my y values, 5 minus negative 4, that's where that's coming from, and then divide that by the difference in my x values, which is negative 1 over 2, then that's where the x value comes from. So 5 minus negative 4, remember 2 negatives make a positive, so that ends up giving you 9, and then negative 1 minus 2, of course, that gives you negative 3. 9 over negative 3 will simplify to be negative 3. Okay? And we can do the same thing to find the slope of line 2 here. Take the difference in my x values, so negative 3, y values, which would be 3 minus negative 4, that always goes on top. The difference in the x values goes on the bottom, so it would be negative 3 minus negative 1. Again, 2 negatives here make a positive, so that gives me 7. Again, 2 negatives here make a positive, so negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. So, slope of line 1 is going to be negative 3, and the slope of line 2 is negative 7/2. And when we compare those, we can see that they are not equal to each other. If these two lines were going to be parallel, their slopes would have to be equal to each other, and we just found out that they are not. So that means line 1 and line 2 are not parallel, even though they look like they might be. When we mathematically do it, we find out that they are not parallel. Now, let's turn that into this problem. It says line 3 contains these two, and line 4 contains these 2 points. So again, if I take line 3, and I want to find the difference in the y's, that's going to be 2 minus 6 on top, over the difference in my x's, which is negative 1 minus negative 13. And it really doesn't matter which way you do these as long as you're consistent on the top and the bottom. 2 minus 6 is negative 4 over negative 1 minus a minus 13 actually turns into a plus. And so that ends up being 12 there. And negative 4 over 12 reduces down to negative 1/3. Okay, so that's the slope of line 3. If I look, and let's do the slope of line 4, that's going to be 7 minus 6, that's the difference in my y's, over 6 minus 3, which is the difference in my x's. 7 minus 6 is 1. And did I do that backwards? Let's see. 7 minus 6 is 1, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So I end up with 1/3, okay, on that particular one. And again, these look like they're the same slope, except one's positive and one is negative. So again, these are not parallel. That's the symbol for parallel. And the explanation is that even though you see the 1/3, one's positive 1/3 and one's negative 1/3. So these are not parallel because they do not have the same slope. Okay? I hope this was helpful, and that's the understanding we have to be able to know whether lines are truly parallel or not. Best of luck on your studies.